Do you want him no more? Pearls fell on me like they were free. I gritted my teeth and refused to reveal anything. I got up the next day. It was the first time I found that Fu Jingyu got up earlier than me. He sat in front of the dressing table. I didn't know what he was doing. I came out after washing up. He was applying a facial mask. He looked at me coldly and snorted. I saw him dressed up so gorgeously early in the morning. I was silent for a long time. I went downstairs. I found that a delicious breakfast was already on the table. It was made by Rennie. I couldn't help but look at Fu Jingyu. His face was as black as the bottom of the pot. On the table, a grain of rice tasted bad in his mouth. It was as hard as diamond. After a few days together, Fu Jingyu slept in my room every night. Rennie smelled the stronger smell on him. He became more and more silent day by day. He felt that his heart was being slowly tortured. Mercilessly. It would be better if I didn't know anything. He could still deceive himself. She still loved him. He just forgot. I had breakfast as usual that day. Fu Jingyu suddenly turned pale and fell to the ground. It hurts, sister. It hurts. I sent him to the hospital. Before leaving, I asked someone to send all the breakfasts for testing. The test results came out. Some of the breakfasts were poisoned with herb juice. This juice is just a way to adjust the appetite for ordinary people, but it is poisonous to mermaids, and those breakfasts were all Fu Jingyu's favorite food. Rennie made breakfast for so many days. He would know. When I took Fu Jingyu, who had just recovered, home, I saw Rennie standing in the living room at a loss. His eyes were full of red bloodshot. He didn't look like he had a good night's sleep. It's not me. I didn't poison. He looked at me steadily. There was a hint of expectation in his eyes. As if he expected me to believe him. Fu Jingyu fell behind me, leaning against me softly, pulling my clothes gently. She said weakly, "It's okay, sister. I don't blame him. Maybe my brother can't bear to see me getting too close to you. Even if I fainted from the pain and went to the hospital to vomit for a long time, it doesn't matter. It's all because I'm an eyesore." Before I could say anything, Rennie suddenly yelled, "It's not me. What are you pretending for? Maybe this is your self-torture trick, just to frame me." "Shut up." Fu Jingyu hid behind me in fear, but I could feel his hand carelessly kneading my hand. It implied some kind of teasing. I grabbed his hand and didn't let him move. Rennie looked at me with hurt eyes, and the tears in his eyes rolled down his cheeks. He asked tremblingly, "Don't you believe me? Don't you love me the most? We've been together for 5 years. Don't you know what kind of person I am? How long has he appeared? Compared to me, how long has he appeared? Would you rather believe him than me?" Rennie looked at me with some resentment in his eyes. "You obviously loved me the most before. Why don't you believe me? Don't you want me anymore? Is it because he appeared? Are you going to drive me away because of him? Do you know what kind of person he is? Do you know how dangerous he is? I know." Rennie's long speech was blocked by a sentence from me, "I raise one who is not dangerous." Rennie's face was pale. He originally thought that she was deceived by Fu Jingyu's weak appearance. But she knew his danger, but she still kept him. He murmured, "Why don't you want me? Between the two of us, weren't you the first to let go?" I asked back calmly. Rennie was stunned. Then he explained in a panic, "I'm not. I lost my memory before. I'm sorry. I know everything now. I like you. I've always liked you. Not Sujin. She looks a bit like you. The first thing I saw when I woke up was her. I thought my feelings for you were for her. I don't like her. Please don't leave me. I'm willing to come back." Fu Jingyu suddenly tightened his grip on me. He carefully leaned close to my ear. His warm breath sprayed on my skin. "Sister. Can you feed 2 fish?" He looked very insecure. But what he said was extremely dangerous. It seemed that as long as I nodded, he would immediately rush out and tear Rennie apart. And then completely possess me. "I don't want you anymore," I said to Rennie. He was stunned for a moment. Then his eyes were dark. With despair. "Is it because of him? Even if it wasn't because of him, I wouldn't want you. I said, I'm a germaphobe. I hate dirt. Rennie felt like his heart was torn in two. He was thrown to the ground mercilessly. He was stepped on twice. The pain in his heart spread to his limbs. He felt like his breath was mixed with ice spikes. Don't do this to me. I'm not dirty. I'll wash it off. Wait for me. Wait for me. I'll wash it clean. Su Tong. Please don't leave me. When the private detective sent me the news again, I called the police directly arrest Suzhan's brother and sister and Rennie on the charge of stealing commercial secrets. I can't just leave a family with ulterior motives. I've been monitoring their every move for many years. Suze is striving for a big project. If this project is won, Sue's group will take a big step forward and enter the public eye with a brand new attitude. Suzhan's family wanted me to make a big mistake on this project, and then use it to pull me down, and take the opportunity to help her useless brother to the top. She came up with a very stupid idea. Let Rennie sneak into my house with a beauty trap, and steal secrets. This looks like a plot from a romance novel being used against me in reality. If I didn't know their plan in advance, and wanted to catch them all in one fell swoop, I wouldn't even pay attention to Rennie. I wouldn't leave the secrets in my study at home. Suzhan tempted Rennie to take action by terminating the contract. I took Rennie back, and also to give him a chance to take action. I didn't expect that he would really live a peaceful life. There was no other way but to stimulate him. The surveillance recorded the whole process of him taking the fake secrets, and the private detective sent me the recording of their conspiracy. The evidence was conclusive, and no one could escape. Someone surrounded me from behind. Sister, how are you going to compensate me for using me like this? Isn't it compensation to help you drive away the people you hate? Fu Jingyu laughed sullenly a few times and bit my shoulder gently with his sharp teeth. You don't feel sorry for me at all. You just poison me. I actually found out a long time ago, but I can eat poison even if it's poison that sister feeds me. I turned around and kissed him and comforted him. Look how much I like you. I only poisoned you. I haven't poisoned anyone else. Fu Jingyu narrowed his eyes dangerously. Sister, do you think I'm a fool? I sighed, knowing that I can't let it go without paying something today. Okay, do whatever you want tonight. Just tonight? 5 days is okay. Why don't you go back to the sea and find someone else? I went to the prison to take a look at them. Suzhan wanted to crawl out and kill me, looking at me with great resentment. Su Tong, are you very proud? Wait until I get out of here, I will let you have a taste of hell. I said lightly, of course I am proud. After all, you have been jumping around like a clown for so many years, and you have not gotten any good from me. In the end, I sent you to prison, ruining your rich life. It's your turn, aren't you proud? Suzhan went crazy instantly. What qualifications do you have to say that to me? You were born into a good family, born to your parents, but you have no right to occupy the Su family's property. You are a woman, and you are not legitimate. What qualifications do you have to inherit the Su family? Only my brother is the heir of the Su family. Su Tong, you thief, I curse you to die without a burial place. It's boring. He broke down after a few words. I went to see Rennie. He was quiet. When he saw me, his eyes turned red instantly, and he got up from the ground. There was glass between us, and he gently placed his hand on the glass, looking at me cautiously. Afraid that I would disappear. Is it a dream? You really came to see me. He lowered his neck carefully, his voice choked. I washed myself clean. I forcibly terminated the contract with Suzhan. I am clean now. I am not dirty. But do I have no chance to stand by your side? If I hadn't been so resolute at the beginning and hadn't recognized the wrong person. If I had looked at my memory earlier, would it be better if we hadn't separated now? Wouldn't there be someone standing by your side to replace me? Rang Yi's tears fell one by one, his eyes full of despair. I know that even if I leave here, you will still not accept me again, right? If it wasn't for using me, you wouldn't want to see me. If I wasn't a mermaid, I would never forget my lover. When I returned to the Su family, I was greeted by my parents' accusations. We are all family. Is it necessary to make such a big fuss? Hurry up and let them release Shinjin and the others. They are your sister and brother. They are your relatives. Su Tong. Do you still have any feelings for them? If I knew that I gave birth to a cold-blooded monster like you, I should have strangled you to death when you were born. What did they do wrong? Which family business is not inherited by the son? If your grandmother hadn't insisted on having her own way, it would be How who would inherit this family today. I drank tea calmly. If you let that rubbish Suho inherit the Su family at that time, do you think you would still have the good life you have today? My parents choked, but they were still glaring. Why would Grandma rather push me, who was still young, to the top than let you, Dad, continue to do it? You are so old, haven't you figured it out yet? I have been pampered for too many years, giving you too many illusions. You were wrong to help outsiders challenge me. But I reflected on it. I was also wrong. I let you live too comfortably, so you thought too many mistakes. I smiled and waved. A dozen black-clad bodyguards came in from outside. What are you going to do, you unfilial daughter? We are your parents. Do you still want to hit us? Do you believe that I will call reporters immediately to ruin your reputation? I was surprised and said, Mom and Dad, you are my real parents. You gave birth to me and raised me for so many years. How could I hit you? I just think you are too idle. It just so happens that my friend has invested in a middle-aged and elderly university. I will send you to school. In addition, I gave my mother a big gift. Mom and Uncle have been kept in the dark for so many years. It's quite pitiful. This paternity test and report. One is for you. I have asked someone to send one to my uncle. My father's face turned pale when he heard the paternity report. He immediately wanted to snatch the things in my mother's hand and tear them into pieces. But I still have it. The bodyguard behind him brought a big box. Dad, if you like to tear up paper, tear it up more. But you can't tear up textbooks and test papers at school. Walking out of the Su family's door, I heard my mother's angry roar from inside. The couple had a fierce quarrel. My father was hanging out with his sister-in-law. Su-Jan and Su-Hao were both his illegitimate children. My mother and my stupid uncle were kept in the dark until now. I really thought he was stupid enough to give up his position to his brother's son because both of them were his children. Listening to the hysterical quarrel inside, I sighed. It seems that my mother herself can't do the words she said to comfort me at the beginning. I also put these 4 people in the same university, the same class. The university is closed, and I heard that the management is very strict. The work and rest schedule is aligned with that of the 3rd year of high school. Learn until you are old, otherwise they will be at home all day, and they will be bored. I am so kind. I just finished a happy time with Fu Jingyu in the swimming pool. I hugged him weakly. His fishtail was wrapped around me. I raised my hand to hold his face, but found a silver palm print on his face. I was stunned for a moment, looked at the palm of my hand, and didn't know where the color was stained. And this color looked familiar. It looked a bit like Fu Jingyu's fishtail. I looked down. Will the fishtail fade? I reached out and touched it again. Fu Jingyu shuddered and his eyes lit up. You can do it again, right? Before I could say no, he pressed me down and did it again. The water was rippling. It was over. I asked breathlessly, why is your fishtail still fading? Fu Jingyu's head was buried in me and rubbed against me, and he was stunned and stiff. He looked up at his tail. He looked at me again, pouted his mouth, and his eyes were full of tears. If I change the color of my tail, will my sister dislike me? Well, it turns out that Fu Jingyu is a black-tailed mermaid. But he dyed his tail silver with tail dye. It's equivalent to human hair dye. Because in the mermaid tribe, black tails have always been unpopular. As soon as Fu Jingyu was born, his mother suffered a lot of criticism. In order not to make things difficult for his mother, he left the tribe at a young age and lived alone. Since ancient times, humans have also believed that black is an ominous sign. He was afraid that I would not like the black tail after going ashore, so he dyed his tail before going ashore. Unexpectedly, the tail dye expired and he forgot to touch up the color, so it faded. Sister, what color tail do you like? I can change it. Fu Jingyu looked very nervous. He hugged his black tail and curled up pitifully in the corner. This reminded me of the little mermaid I met when I was a child. Similar personalities and the same tail color. There don't seem to be many black-tailed mermaids. It can't be such a coincidence. I asked, do you know your memory when you were 6 or 7 years old? At that time, I was wronged at home and went for a walk on the beach. When I was squatting in a deserted place and crying, someone hit me on the head with something. I looked up and saw a beautiful little mermaid quietly looking at me in the water. "You are so noisy. Don't cry." I wiped my tears and threw the things he threw at me back. "This sea is yours. If you don't let me cry, I can't cry." The little mermaid was hit hard and her expression was blank. Then she covered her head and shed 2 tears. "It's not yours either. Why are you making noises at me here?" "It's mine," I said lightly. The little mermaid choked and glared at me fiercely, then got into the water. I thought he was gone, but he used his tail to stir up a small wave and soaked me like a drowned chicken. I went into the water and grabbed him. "Ah. Don't hit me, don't hit me, I didn't mean it." "Sorry sister, woo-wah." The little mermaid's fighting power on the shore was 0. I was arranged to learn martial arts again. I used all the moves taught by the coach on him. When I was tired of fighting, I collapsed on the beach. The little mermaid curled up and sobbed beside him. "You must hate me. Who told you to splash water on me? You must hate me because my tail is ugly, woo-woo." "No, because you splashed water on me. But they all hate my tail and bully me and mom." I turned over impatiently. "Then why don't you catch them and beat them up, and force them to say you are pretty? There are too many people. I can't beat them." His sobbing became quieter. "Sister, I can catch them, can you help me beat them?" "Sister, if you don't hate my tail, why beat me?" "Because you splashed water on me." "I'm sorry, I didn't mean it, so do you hate my tail? Get out of here." Fujinyu and I finished reading his memories taken from the archives. Fujinyu had always been alone before, and he didn't feel anything when his memories were lost, and he didn't feel he had to get them back. As a result, we watched together and found that he had my presence in every 7 years. The first amnesia period at the age of 7. He and I met at the seaside. After that, he often went to see me, but I only appeared there occasionally after the amnesia period. He often wandered there. He didn't remember what happened before, but felt that something there attracted him. But at that time, I no longer lived there. The second amnesia period at the age of 14. He saw me on the sea and followed behind my boat, but he didn't dare to go ashore easily. Later, he mustered up the courage to go ashore, but couldn't find me in the vast sea of people. It seems that he wanders between meeting and missing every time, but every time he meets again, he falls in love with me again. Fujinyu said he wanted to make a covenant with me. He said, "I want to hand myself over to you. You don't need to abide by the rules that I need to abide by. I just want to have a place by your side forever." I refused. For humans, making a covenant is all based on conscience, but for orcs, it is an absolute confinement. I don't like others to confine my freedom, and I don't like to confine the freedom of others. For me, falling in love should be a happy thing for both people. Marriage should be something that both parties are willing to do. But if one party sacrifices too much for the other party, then the relationship will change anyway. It is only a matter of time before the relationship collapses. I hope that Fujinyu and I are both free. When we love each other, we can enjoy love to our heart's content. If we no longer have feelings for each other, we can also part ways amicably. If love is based on the loss of freedom, it is not love. Fujinyu looked into my eyes and said seriously, "In this life, as long as you don't let go, even if I have 1,000 forgetfulness periods, I can still fall in love with you the next time I see you." I smiled and touched his head. "Let's love each other as much as we can in the limited time. What will happen in the future is uncertain."